As much as I need you, you will find you will need me as well, and this droid will prove useful on your journey.
Why would I take the exchange boss, or the droid of the exchange boss? Given the holograms, I'm not convinced that this isn't Godo himself. Why would I take him straight to another Jedi after he's been putting, like, king's ransoms out on all the fucking Jedi that are still alive? It's in our Shaddaa.
So, you have returned from exile. Kavar thought you might, if only to wander your old battlegrounds. But I did not think you would come to Nar Shaddaa. Still, you were always a difficult one to read, both when you were tied to the Force, and even more when it was lost to you.
Why did Kavar think I would return from exile?
I do not know. It was a sense he had, and he had served in war as you had. Perhaps he thought he understood you, or maybe he simply hoped he did. He felt you were the key to understanding the threat we face. The others were not so certain, but so many of them are gone now, as you no doubt know.
Find me.
He sensed some connection between you and many of the worlds touched by war. He thought by traveling to such places, he could achieve understanding.
I have questions I want answered.
No doubt. I think the answers will provide us both with some measure of peace. I have kept secrets for far too long.
Sounds like he's willing to answer my questions. That's a start. Where are all the Jedi?
They have scattered, but there is purpose in their movements. It is both to hunt and draw out our enemies. Somehow, we, are being targeted through the Force, and when Jedi gather, we are vulnerable. So we have chosen places where it is difficult to sense others through the Force, whether on planets dense with life or touched by war. In such places, we may conceal ourselves, gather information without presenting ourselves as targets. It was part of Kavar's plan.
Plan?
Yes, he felt if our enemy cannot detect us, then perhaps they would believe themselves victorious and show themselves. And we knew that the war would be lost if we continued to act as we had. I do not know where they wander now. There are few of us, though. Too few, and I have not heard from them in some time.
Atris is on Telos.
Atris? But I had thought she had gone to Qatar with the others.
Yes, it is, Chris. I have a feeling she has something to do with this planet. You sound surprised.
Yes, she holds the last of the Jedi teachings. It is good
I already like
she
him better than
survived.
Atris, just for the record. Other questions?
What I can tell you, I will.
Do them.
It is a long story, but there is no harm in you knowing. And someone should know. Only a handful of us remained after the Jedi Civil War, barely 100 in number. Then, even that 100 began to vanish, in places where the Force seemed blind. The only pattern we determined is that when Jedi gathered, they were seen no more. At the last Jedi conclave on the Miraluka world of Qatar, the entire planet was wiped out, an entire race destroyed, because the Jedi chose to gather there. It was only then that we realized we were facing something far more powerful than we knew how to fight.
Is that why you hid?
We could not allow the fact that when we gathered, we placed everything around us at risk. A Jedi's life is sacrifice, but we cannot allow our presence or actions to endanger others. and we could not fight an enemy that will not reveal itself. But any Jedi, anyone who was strong in the Force, who attempted to track down such a threat, vanished without a trace.
Makes no sense.
It does, but you must step back to see it. Whatever this threat was, it was targeting us and everything around us. Yet it was somehow weak enough that it was afraid to confront us openly. If it believed us defeated, then perhaps it would finally show itself. It was a faint hope, but it was the best we had. It was Kavar's plan. He was always the greatest tactician among us, and had seen war more than the rest of us. Very well.
I need to know why you cast me out of the Order.
We told you it was because you followed Revan to war, but you ask because you are not certain of that answer, nor were we. The day we cast you out, that is the moment I decided to leave the Order, because I do not believe we truly faced the reasons you were exiled, and if we do not examine such truths, then we are already lost. I think it was because we were afraid. It is a difficult thing to live one's life with the Force. To see a vision of what it would be like to be severed from it, it is more frightening than you know.
It creeps them out, is what they're saying. Sort of. If that really is why, I imagine he was not the only one of the wiser Jedi Masters to take it as a sign that it was time to leave the Jedi Order, because that sounds like a pretty significant departure from the original values of the Jedi, you know?
Very well.
Why are you on Nar Shaddaa?
I had thought perhaps that here upon the Smuggler's Moon, I might find some evidence of the threat we faced. The bounties on Jedi and their disappearance. I did not believe the two were connected, but there was a chance. And the strong currents of life here on Nar Shaddaa make perceiving a Force user difficult. I could use it to cloak my movements and watch without being discovered. Very well.
Why did you cut me off from the Force?
Is that what you think? We did no such thing, but it is a technique that has been used as punishment in the past, yes. It is a rare sentence, and to my knowledge it has only been done once, at a moment where a Jedi discipline has failed. What caused your loss, I fear, was different. I am not certain I understand it. We did not understand it fully then, and only recently do I feel we may have become enlightened. The other masters may have more knowledge of this, but I do not. And I do not know if they even live. Does it matter? It seems your power has returned. Perhaps the loss was not a loss at all. Very well.
I think she would say it was a pretty significant loss when it was gone. Also, presumably I haven't even gotten it fully back yet. The end of my trial, you and the other masters said something that had happened to me. What was it?
Ah, so the records of your trial were found. Good. Sometimes I think this galaxy would be a better place if there were less Jedi secrets.
Amen.
But I have no answer for you, as much as I would like to give one. We vowed never to speak of it. And although I would not keep promises to Jedi, I keep promises I make to others. And Kavar was a friend. If we were gathered as one, then the promise might be revoked. Until then, I can say nothing.
Wonder if Kavar is on my list. Or if he was killed on Qatar.
Very well.
You know anything of Force bonds and how to end them?
Yes, such bonds are a connection that can be formed at moments of crisis, or in the slow understanding that grows between master and apprentice. It is most common between two beings who are sensitive to the Force. It allows the transmission of feelings, of influence. It was something you were gifted with, as I recall, before your fall. You formed such attachments easier than most, even to those who could feel the Force only faintly. Even Vrook could not ignore it, which is saying something.
I remember Vrook. Vaguely. I've developed a bond with another, one that is lethal to us both.
That is most unusual and unnatural. I have never heard of a bond of such strength.
How would I end it?
There were a few within the Order who knew more than I did of such bonds, but their students were few, lost in the Mandalorian Wars. It was rumored that Revan studied such bonding deeply, both through the Jedi histories and with certain teachers, before she left the Order and went to war.
I think I just asked him this, but...
I do not know. A bond between two living beings is not something easily broken. It is not a choice. It is like breaking a feeling, like turning away from the Force. To break a bond, your feelings would have to change, or one of you would have to die. But even then, the bond wouldn't go away. It would simply be empty. A wound.
Oh great, because I haven't had enough Force wounds already.
Very well.
Oh. Apparently that was all the questions, and apparently what happens now is only at the end of one of these choices, because the only option I haven't selected is prepare to die. I don't want to kill the guy. If I didn't kill Atris, I'm sure as hell not going to kill this guy. Killing Atris might have been tempting, though.
Yes, it was even...
That is all I wish to know. What happens now?
Now I must take up the role I was ready to cast aside. This threat has finally revealed itself, and we Jedi will need to stand together. I did not speak fully of what I have felt. Staying on Nar Shaddaa, it is an exile of sorts, one that I have chosen. I, too, lost a Padawan on Malachor, not to the battle, but to the alternative, to the teachings that Revan brought from the unknown regions. And I was not the only Jedi Master to watch a student turn on them.
Interesting. I feel like so you blamed him is maybe jumping to conclusions a little bit. I'm not even sure what I'm saying he blamed them for. I like the second option. To fighting the Mandalorian Wars was no betrayal, but he actually made the distinction between losing them to the war versus losing them to Revan's turn to the dark side. Which would imply that it's the turn to the dark side he's referring to when he says, watch a student turn on them. Although, I guess, arguably number 3 kind of has the same issue. It's just kind of less direct about it. Something about correcting your students to your disciples sounds pretty bitter, but I like the point that it makes. Students, your disciples, were taught to protect innocence even when you would not. I like that one because it's not just a flat... It wasn't a betrayal to go against orders, which is arguable. Even if you think they did the right thing, it's still arguable that it would still constitute a betrayal on some level, right? But I like the third one because it's basically like, you taught us to be good people, so we went and beed good people. I don't know why I said beed. Weird, but you know what I mean. Your students, your disciples, were taught to protect innocence, even when you would not.
No, they were not to blame, but many of the Order did so. It was a difficult time, a time of strong emotion. Perhaps the Council, perhaps the Order itself, had grown arrogant in their teachings. It is easy to cast blame, but it is perhaps time the Order accepted responsibility for their teachings and their arrogance, and come to recognize that perhaps we are flawed. Not once did I hear one of the Council claim responsibility for Revan, for Exar Kun, for Ulic, for Malak, or for you. Yet, you were the only one who came back from the wars to face our judgment. And rather than attempting to understand why you did what you did, we punished you instead. Our one chance to see where we had gone wrong, and we cast it aside. And now, that decision has come back to us and may carry with it our destruction. Perhaps there is something wrong in us, in our teachings, and though I tried, I could not cause that thought to leave me, so I left the Council. And I was not the only one. That is why many scattered, and why many in the Republic do not trust us, and why we do not trust ourselves. Make no mistake, I am no Jedi. This is the end, you see. After this, there will be nothing, and I think it will be for the best. Do you wish to do battle now? I have nothing more to say.
Oof. Oh, that's interesting. See, this is an example of what I was talking about earlier, where the range of dialogue options seem surprisingly more creative in their nuance and their different, like, paths in this game. Don't get me wrong, I really enjoyed a lot of KOTOR 1's dialogue. A lot. That was fantastic. But reading number 4, I don't think there was a single time, feel free to correct me if I'm forgetting one, but I don't think there was a single time in KOTOR 1 where you could choose to let someone live and have it still be the dark side option. Letting you live seems more punishment. It will serve as a lesson to other Jedi, perhaps weaken them with your doubts. I mean, damn. There's some creative dark side options for sure. Definitely feels true. Revan redeemed herself. Certainly that must give you some hope.
It provides no comfort at all, for reasons in which I still must keep secret. Suffice to say, redemption was not Revan's choice, and I have never believed those of the Council who attempt to console themselves otherwise for the crime they committed.
Anything you can teach me?
But we have spoken enough, I think. In words I think dull us both.
That was weird.
Let us speak through the Force, through sparring. This Xian form should prove appropriate. Its best use is when you are outnumbered, which I fear suits our predicament perfectly. You will find it easier to deflect blaster fire with this form, and it shall also guard you against critical strikes by your opponents.
It says you're totally right about the added nuance.
Perhaps exile
dialogue
has
options.
been good to you indeed. It has certainly not dulled your instincts, nor the speed at which you learn. I shall go to Dantooine, to the ruins of the Enclave. If you gather the others, I will meet you there. And thank you, exile. You're returning. It is good that you are back among us.
That was delightfully refreshing after the conversational battle with Atris. Right about the added nuance and dialogue options. This game, one of the many reasons I love it. Yeah. 100%. It's like, it presents you with these little tidbits that are like, you could do a dark side run without having to just be a murder hobo. You know? It's unexpected, I guess. Keeps catching me off guard anyway.